Okay, hello everyone. My name is Whisenhunt, and I am presenting Digital Tabletop Hybrid, gaming that's the best of both worlds. A little long, but I like the title. I want to credit where it's due. This features work by my partners in various projects, Logan Haynes, Peyton Lee, and Kenny Woodlock. Okay, so about me personally, I make strange games. I already said that. Ryan makes games on most platforms. I worked on unusual projects throughout my whole life. In high school, I made a murder mystery game on a calculator. I then dropped it, and flash memory was gone, so that's gone now. I have published a card game full of mechanics that I hate in isolation, but I combine them in a way that I quite like. And one of my major long-term projects is this grand-scale diplomacy game that takes a week of real time to play in the background of your life and plays up to 25 players. That's Days Without Strife, which we'll never, ever, ever release. But recently, I founded an Almost Response division alongside Peyton Lee and Kenny Woodlock to make even more strange games professionally, because it's what I love doing. And you got to do what you love. So this presentation is a story of one particular project, a digital hybrid game. So what is that? It's a term I came up with, but I think it's quite fitting. A digital hybrid game blends digital game elements with physical ones. This is not a new idea. We have here some examples. The XCOM board game is a cooperative board game that has one player has a tablet that has an app that kind of dictates the flow of the game. Interesting, but it's very much like segmented to only one person has to interact with it. Even older, we have Space Alert. Space Alert doesn't even use an app. It has literally a CD that plays. I think you put it on shuffle, and then it has like random events that it calls out that affect the game. So that's like an interesting early version of the work. This is fun. This is from Disney World. It's a sort of ARG kind of thing, but you play it in person. You go to Disneyland or Disney World, whichever one this is, and you get an app on your phone where Perry the Platypus needs your help with some secret spy work. So you go to different parts around the park and activate the app, and it'll trigger some event in the world. In this case, Perry the Platypus comes and gets a little boat and he runs along the water. So it's like you're playing the game on the app, but it just helps you experience things as part of the park. And here we have just a picture of some guys playing Jackbox, which seems odd because that's not it's like digital hybrid with also digital. But I would argue it's like the experience is the hanging out with friends doing improv, and the digital element just enhances it. That's the important difference here, the immersion. When you're playing a fully digital game, it's like it's trying to bring you into the world, into a fully digital world. You're trying to transcend that barrier. When you're doing a digital hybrid game, it's the experience is in the world in some capacity. Where it's like you're in your living room with your friends, or you're around a table playing a board game, or you're at a theme park, but there's digital elements that enhance it. So, the origin of this project. So, summer 2023, I went to Gen Con to help promote that card game I mentioned. And these guys at Gen Con, it's a big board game convention, right? It's like they've never heard of computers. But I was going to KSU at the time, and their game dev program was so focused on digital games. It's, again, it's like the tabletop industry was this afterthought, a footnote. So when I returned, I was taking this class on novel interaction methods in games. I pitched a project that explored that space. That's where I met Logan Haynes. He agreed, so he set out to make a game that combined the two. And that is not Wildling Rumble. This was our first crack of the project. We called it Tournament of Runes, a very quick afterthought of a name. It used this Xbox adaptive controller, which is designed primarily for people with disabilities, to make a controller that reads to the computer like an Xbox controller, but it's got these buttons on cable so you can set up an environment that's perfectly suited to your needs. What we had here is we would lace it through, I think I actually have an image of this. Yeah, we had this board. The buttons were on these little panels, and it was laced underneath the board, connecting to the little base unit, which then connected to the app. So it's like a board game you play with this app on the side, like that XCOM board game, right? The difference is, I went back here. The difference is, it was very much like a physical, we wanted to separate the fun things that are fun to do in physical keep in physical, and all the annoying tracking and busy work was on the digital. How it worked is you would get these rune cards, you would play them in a certain sequence, and punch it into the app with this simple interface, just by rotating with one button and confirming with the other. Every unique combination of runes had a unique spell, including different borders. So it was like over 100 combinations. The way, like, in person, like without a computer, that would be really annoying to track, and that'd be a big table you'd reference or something. No, with the app, it took care of everything for you, which meant you got to move pieces on a board, play with cards. It meant you got to roll dice and have these little trackers. I can even show you here. Even show you with these little, all these different components. Like, that's all the fun parts of board games. But the cards are very simple. All the complex, like, initiative tracking and like status effects that occur over time, all of that was handled by the app, which you can't see because of this guy's head. This is our in development prototype. That's me there, and that's Logan taking notes. Very astute. The early prototypes, I actually ran the entire game myself with me as the computer. But in this prototype, I actually do have the app, so I'm doing nothing. Appreciate these guys helping us test it out. So it was a really interesting idea because you got to like experience what felt like a complex tactical game with all these different options, but you didn't have to worry about like it being technical like a Magic the Gathering game. But it was still kind of clunky. It didn't stop, however. We showed it off at this symposium at KSU, and they had bussed in a bunch of high schoolers to come look at all the important projects that were mostly like medical research and engineering. But there was one little corner with all the silly games. And so that's where all the high schoolers went. And we had, at one point, 4 people playing and like 6 or 7 of them watching, cheering them on. It's quite a spectator sport when it's going. And I remember distinctly the moment when I knew this game was, we had something here. The game ended, all 4 students got up and left, and before I could get a breath out, 4 new ones had sat down, they're like, we want to play immediately. So I had to like quickly reset and start the game on. So it's interesting, still kind of clunky though with the buttons. We wanted something better. So our insights from this, because this is all, I went through all this nonsense because I want to share what we learned, because I think there's so much potential in this industry. So the first insight here is input is the bottleneck. How do you get input from the players into the computer? Output from the computer is easy, because that's just put a picture on the screen, play sounds, that's easy. You can hit a lot of people with that. But when you're getting input, it's like precise and tricky. The little 2 buttons we had for a Tournament of Runes wasn't really cutting it. So we addressed it in our next project, which is so the scanners. So our next project, Wildling Rumble, used all the strengths of the previous one. We wanted strong physical digital elements. We wanted an intuitive but deep spectator sport, leaning heavily on the spectator sport. But we wanted to fix the clunky input and the complexity of all the different rune combinations, which the app handled, but you still kind of had to track. So it's still kind of clunky. We decided to replace it with NFC cards and scanners, which are like these here. This project was Wildling Rumble. It's the thing we're showing off at the expo today, and it's the main thrust of this talk. This new design was a creature auto battle. We focused the game around the scanner, which naturally led to a game where you're making big decisions infrequently. So something where you tap them on the scanner and they come to life, right? So that was something like a creature auto battler was something that felt very natural to us for that design. We wanted to keep the board gaming kind of feel, so we included these training cards that let you still make decisions outside of just throwing in animals, basically. It was a technically complex simulation, but the player didn't have to do any of that work because it was all run by the computer. So you could just make your high impact decision of who you're sending in without it being complex for the user. So importantly, we wanted to keep the pace up, so we found a simple reader that also had, they could input lightning fast. And I think that's the critical point. Pace matters a lot for this kind of experience. Here, I'll show you a bit about Wildling Rumble. So it uses these cards here, These cards here are the different wildlings you can send in based on animals. And then we have these action cards here, which are, generally speaking, upgrades you give to those wildlings. When you tap them, they appear in the game like that. You can see that one's being upgraded. Over here, you can see 4 people have put in different wildlings. And then up there is a screenshot of how the auto battler works. In this case, the turtle has zoomed into the middle to take the fight. And I'll provide a demonstration of this toward the end. This went pretty well. It's really an understatement because everywhere we take this, people are excited by it. Something about this simple scan to life idea, it feels like magic, you know? We've been so far showing this around to not just, so we started at school, but we've been showing it around to other events. We took it to DreamHack a couple times, this event, of course, and at different bars and other smaller events. And every time we can draw crowds like this. And it's always the experience of being a spectator sport and the fact that you can bring it to life means that the experience isn't on the screen. It infects the atmosphere around it. The experience is people holding these cards and deciding what to put in, and they can see it happen, but they're never absorbed into the experience. They're always thinking ahead, they're always excited for, but never alongside the wildlings in the battle. So it keeps the experience grounded in reality, with the digital element complementing it, which is the whole idea behind this, the digital hybrid. Something to use the benefit of these digital games without having it disrupt the physical nature, so you can actually be in the world with your friends. Right, so it's that feeling of magic that I think really brings us home. So the company that sold the cards and scanners also sold these NFC keychain things, which work very similarly. So that idea sparked, that technology sparked this idea to not just let the players play with the cards, but to bring it home, to keep the game going beyond just the experience at whatever event you're at. So at the end of each game, the winner gets to save their wildling onto one of these keychains. And again, it has that feeling of magic where the players, once they think they're done, suddenly they can take it home with them. And despite being very simple technology and a very simple physical experience, it feels like way more. Again, it's that feeling of magic. I have never seen someone get this and be disappointed or confused. They're always wow, that's incredible that you can do this, when this is the simplest kind of RFID technology you can buy. But that feeling of magic is for them, the player, not for us. We are developers. We have to understand everything about this technology so that the players at home or at whatever event they're at, they get to feel all the cool ones, right? So I lied about how the keychains work, right? I said you saved on these keychains. You don't. These keychains are not read-write. They have a simple 10-digit code that is read by the scanner. All the data is saved on the PC. The result is that the result is the same for the user. The player comes up, they get this keychain, and it works just like I said it does, except the data isn't actually stored here. But it doesn't matter. If it works the way they think it does, that's what's important, right? It's getting back to the fundamental experience is what it's what this whole thing is about, right? So I wanted to boil all this down to actionable advice, which is step one: get excited, because there's so many cool technologies out there. I know it's funny how mundane all this seems, but all of this is very exciting to me. Can you imagine what you could do with this extremely boring ID printer or this kitchen scale? Because this sparks so many ideas for me alone. There are so many interesting form factors and input and output methods, and there's so much you can do to build upon them and create experiences around around even simple interaction methods like here. So you need to design a project around your tech, like how we designed Wildling Rumble around the scanner. And you can see what you get. I know that there are new play patterns that have not been explored because we don't have the tech, haven't had the experience of exploring this technology, you know? And why haven't they, you know? But advice two is calm down, right? Because although all this stuff is really cool, you can't go with your first instincts on stuff like this. I've had a lot of very well-meaning people suggest that, you know, phones have scanners built in, which they do. Why not try to put the game, like use the scanning cards on your phone? And the answer is because this technology is more complicated than that, unfortunately. This simple scanner I have here, it's designed to be lightning fast. This is designed to be secure. It's slow. It takes anywhere between 1/4 of a second to 1/2 a second to like do a full scan, and that's if it doesn't just fail because of some security check. Good for a credit card transaction where you're trying to buy something, bad for a game where pace is critical. So I think the reason you don't see games with weird interaction methods like this is because people end up, they try it out, they go with their first instincts, it doesn't quite work out, and then the project doesn't go anywhere. And I think if you're exploring this kind of technology, you have to really dig deep, you know? That's why I have my very useful infographic of like how does this technology actually work? What is it designed for? Like, are there other use cases there? And you don't have to be like repurposing, you know, security equipment all the time. Just learning what is physically possible and then what are the experiences you can derive from that. And like, what can you make the player feel? That's what's important, digging deep. You know, it's at the end of the day, you don't forget about the fundamentals, right? Having a fancy toys and gimmicks, it won't save your game if it has a bad core loop. What you need is, because you can't rely on immersion, you need to have a stronger core loop in the face of a gimmick, because frankly, it's going to be distracting. I have a few examples and counterexamples here. I think Wii Sports is the best one because it's a very simple motion tracking in the Wii remote, but they used it for so many interesting little games. I don't know that they all stand on their own, but like Wii Sports is a classic for a reason. It uses its simple, pseudo gimmicky core interaction method very well. But Star Wars and other Kinect games, I find that a lot of them didn't have the same care and attention. It's like, yeah, it lets you pretend to have a lightsaber swinging around, but that wears off after 5 minutes, and then at the end, it's just kind of a tech demo that they put a full game onto. This is a weird case. Acron it's not a hardware gimmick. This is just an interesting concept because it's an RTS with time travel, where you can you can send orders back in the past and create branching timelines that all merge back in. It's an extremely fascinating idea and system. This is from like 2 decades ago at this point, but it never really took off because the core faction design they went with was too convoluted in a game that already featured time travel, and so it was hard to people to grok. And I believe if they had stuck to a stronger loop, then their interesting idea of time travel RTS would have gone over very well. But it all shows here that, like, no matter what your game is, you need a strong core. You need a good, like primary gameplay loop. Okay, so final observations. I am a bit ahead of schedule here, but I have a fun demo at the end for you. But our final observations here. In the end, our 2 projects I don't think ever fully escaped the digital tabletop binary. Tournament of Runes feels very tabletop, and Wildling Rumble feels very digital. I still get people asking if they can buy it on Steam, and I'm like, I don't know how, because you can't just print the cards out from Steam. But I appreciate the sentiment because they like it and they want to see more of it, even if they're not fully thinking through all the details. But I believe it is possible to find something that truly merges these mediums, into a new brand new medium. Something, the kind of magic you can only get in like a theme park, where it's a more controlled experiences. You can bring that home. In fact, because we give out these keychains at our booth, like people bring these home with them, and therefore kind of bring the game with them. Because again, the creature they're bringing home isn't actually on these little keychains. But it's in their mind and heart. So in a sense, they never stop playing the game as long as they don't forget their keychain, which people often do. So, oh well. But I encourage everyone to look between the lines of genres, mediums, and like form factors that are currently popular, or even ones that are like completely unpopular, stuff that you wouldn't even think of. Is there technology, or is there some interaction method that out there that you can make a game out of? Because I mean, if I can make a murder mystery on a calculator, I think you can make a game on a kitchen scale easily. Yeah, so you'll find wonders hidden in the corner of your eyes. All right, that is the bulk of my talk. We have QA time, right? And I have a demo of Wildling Rumble I can show off some features for. So, thank you. Would you run down and grab like a stat upgrade card from the booth, because I forgot one. Yes, so questions. Yes, question. This is Wildling Rumble, but yes, questions. It actually took strikingly little time. So this project was developed as part of KSU's Novel Game Design Lab, and so we sketched out the design over like a week or two. My partner Logan, he made all the physical cards, these fun designs, and I programmed the entire thing over the course of a month. But that was like as one of my classes I was taking, so it was just like a whole background thing. All of these assets here are they're all from the Unity store. So these are adorable animals, we didn't make those. And it's all brought together. I love this grass effect. But again, I didn't make that. That's just from the Unity store. And then the whole thing has this pixel art filter placed over it, if I can reset it for you there. Which kind of brings it together. That's a sort of side point of like, presentation is very important, and like, you don't need high effort bespoke graphics if you can showcase like, if you can just give something, a hook to latch onto. You know, look at these cute animals. Look how cute and pixely they are. I can actually run you through a quick demo here. How the battles work. Oh, look at that. Hey, okay. So here's the auto battle going. You see, they're doing all these fun particle effects, but under the pixel art shader, it looks like one continuous experience. But yeah, so saving all the time on all the effects work and all the models and stuff, since we bought all those. Development of this, the actual gameplay is very simple, less than a month, easily. Challenge in the process? Definitely like wrangling this scanner here. This particular scanner we bought, this is a keyboard, basically. It reads like a keyboard. So in this particular case, if you look real small in the corner, perfect. This is, yeah, in the corner here, you will see like these little numbers appearing. That's literally how this works. If I tap it on the scanner, you'll see the numbers appear really fast. This is just a keyboard, right? So I had to trick Unity into accepting these keyboard inputs because they're 10-digit codes, and sometimes it forgets the leading number, but the leading number is always 0. So we had to adjust the case for that. When you're working with unusual technology, it's not going to be easy, even for something that as relatively easy as this. But I think it's personally worth it. Like if you can, because getting, and like all these keychains have a unique number, but I don't know what the number is until you tap it. So getting the like pattern of interaction down, that was really tricky. But once we got it, we get that feeling of magic. So it's worth going through all that trouble, in my opinion. Thank you so much. Yes. Oh, absolutely. An idea we keep threatening to do is like bring a second demo, and then, yeah, so our booth would have 2 demos. One that's running something like this, and then one that's running like an FPS or something. So you play Wildling Rumble, you fight through, you get your little keychain, and then we say, oh, hey, come play our FPS game. Bring your keychain as a little companion. That had even more technical difficulties because the keychain doesn't save the data, the computer does. But I set up this system with a Ethernet crossover cable that connects the 2 machines together. And so you have to transfer the data manually that way. So we have thought of that. We've never actually done, I had like a tech demo of it working, but I've never actually made it like, we've never actually done it. fully. But I would love to see these little guys show up in like an FPS's little companion, and the fact that you know you got it from, or do like a Sonic Adventure thing where there's like a little Chow Garden farm, but Wildling Garden. Wouldn't that be nice? Thank you. Yes. That's a good question. I think the trick is too much of the game happens in the little battle simulations, I think. Because you'll see players, because they really, fundamentally, players only make like 4 or 5 decisions over the course of like a 10, 20-minute experience. And that's not a lot of input. The real unfortunate secret behind Wildling Rumble is just, it's a little too random for your input to matter that much. It's like you put your guys in, but I can put the same 4 wildlings in 100 times and you'll get wildly different results, which kind of snowballs into, well, the player's decisions don't actually matter. So not only are there not many decisions, they don't actually matter. And that's just kind of like, it's not 100% true because you do have influence, but it's not as much as it seems like. Again, that's a bit of that magic trick. For a booth demo, that's fine. Like nobody's gonna sit down and play it 100 times because it's it's always at a convention or something. They're doing other things. But I think if you were to like sit down and really math it out and make a tier list and everything, you'd find that like actually strikingly little of your input matters. Unfortunately, I'd want something that your input. I want the player input to matter. I want your decisions to actually affect the game in a more concrete way, and instead of just being like what cute animal is running around doing a random thing. I think something we've been looking into is if you have like a Tamagotchi-like device, which you then tapped on the scanner, something in the vein of like a Jackbox, where you have one device that runs as a host and other devices that run like a client side. So each player can make decisions on their own little thing and then tap and bring it to life, or maybe you don't even have a scanner and they're just connected with wireless, something again like Jackbox. This is very similar to a Jackbox format. So that's what I'd want. I'd want something that lets the player make more decisions and for the decisions to matter in a way that crosses between the physical and digital, as opposed to just like, okay, I'm making a physical decision, tap it, and then the game kind of goes from there. Thank you so much. Yes. This AI is extremely simple. Let me run into a little demo here. I'll give you an example. Yeah, these are all rangers. Here, I will do this. This lizard here, right? His AI is set to ranger. So if we put him in, you'll see he's going to prefer fighting at range. The pelican, however, is aggressive, so he's going to prefer closing in, right? The AI simply decides like who are they going to focus on, and then in what order they're going to use their abilities. The ranger, like the lizard here, prefers its highest range ability currently available, but it won't close the distance to use more attacks. Something like the deer, which is more aggressive, will close the distance in order to use more of its attacks. Any given wildling, you can see here, this whole like wide list of abilities, any given wildling can use any ability. And they can actually, the AI can support having all of them. It's just kind of like the priority list of who are we attacking, and then which abilities are we going to use in what order, and are we going to close the distance, or are we going to stay at range? So but with those very simple rules, it creates these battles that are obviously very visually dynamic. I'll throw it in again. It creates these battles that are visually dynamic because each of them just has slightly different priorities, so they're all running around. And then you have abilities like the kick here. The deer can kick someone away, which drastically alters their positioning and therefore their strategy. And last time the lizard one, now look at the frog in the middle, he's not getting bullied by the deer. Oh, unless he just kills him. All right, that works. So yeah, I'd advise simple rules that combine in interesting ways. The fact that we have 4 combatants means that even the simple rules create a wildly different fights every time. Thank you so much. That's just an excuse for they're all fighting over the flag. We want it to be more than just a death match. Again, I'm sorry? It's literally, the winner is, I'll just run it back, Red Panda this time. The winner is whoever is closest to the flag when time runs out, or you can just kill everyone else. That works. Not kill, knock out. They're wild, they're fine. This is not an animal fighting game, that'd be wrong. Yeah, so right now, see, blue's the closest, but now red's the closest, green's the closest. It always changes color to match. In this case, looks like it's gonna go to elimination again. No? Oh yeah, time up. So blue takes it because they're center. We just wanted a goal that was like simple, because we wanted to emphasize the interaction technology. But yeah, again, this kind of goes to my point about having a strong fundamental. Like, we wanted a game that was fun to spectate. So it had to have a lot of chaotic elements. So for guys with different AI, and it had to have. We knew that if it was just like a death match, they just kind of get up in a big ball and fight each other. So we wanted a secondary objective. So some of their AIs are more focused on getting the flag, and some of their AIs are more focused on just killing everyone. And when you have a battle with 3 tanks who are all trying to take the flag, it's going to look different than a battle with 3 aggressors where they're all fighting around the edges. And then some of the strategies are like a harasser who will dart in and out of combat. And when you have that mixed in, like a battle with like 2 or 3 harassers who are all darting all over the place, it's very chaotic. It means that watching a number of matches in a row, they're all going to feel a little differently, especially when you're rotating your guys in and out. Does that answer your question? Thank you.
This is the same tech that like Amiibo, right?
Amiibos use RFID, and it's like RFID is like a RFID and NFC are both like broad categories. This is the same category of technology, but it's not exactly the same. This particular kind of NFC is not read-write, for example. So we literally, even if we wanted to, I cannot write on these things. Yeah, so all the data is stored here. Amiibos feature the ability to actually write to the statue itself. Because that's just a statue with a chip at the bottom. Those chips can be written to. And there's plenty of different versions of this technology. I would heartily encourage someone else to explore something that did have rewrite. I think players would be willing to, like, we chose a high-speed reader, but I think players would be willing to settle for a slower reader if it meant that they could save their data in an interesting way. And if you already have that kind of game designed, maybe you can use the scanner on the phone. I think that'd be cool. But you. Toys to Life does something. It's like Skylanders. Yeah, that's a very similar kind of experience. That's closer to Amiibos. Like I said, this thing is literally just a keyboard that you. This thing is literally just a keyboard that's typing out numbers, right? There's obviously way fancier ways to write data like that. I don't know if Skylanders are read-write or not, but that becomes a look into. The Toys to Life was kind of like a fad, but I think there's more to explore there, you know? I mean, fundamentally, if we could afford to make little statues of each of these little guys, having statues instead of little cards would be a lot of fun.
It's not a memory from like the 2000s, an arcade machine with a bunch of like a card scanner in the dinosaurs. There's now dinosaurs and it prints out like little dinosaur trading cards, right?
Yeah, I know there are some arcade game machines that use a similar idea. I hear they're more popular in Japan, so maybe this is like Japan's already beaten us on this by like 2 decades. I don't know. But I know that there's ones that let you have a QR code and let you save your pockets to an app, which is a very simple version of this, or ones that use like a barcode scanner also, or like a magnetic strip. So there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of potential with this technology. Some of it is being used in like arcade spaces, but I wonder if there's not more, like, is this viable as a home product? Or is this viable as like sort of an event experience where maybe you come and I mean, this game looks pretty good on a big screen like this, but imagine it was like on a stage somewhere and players could come up and make decisions like that. Or even if you emphasize the sort of virality nature of these little keychains and you gave them at a convention and then you can have players come up and battle each other at kiosks or something. I think there's a lot of potential for unknown and explored avenues. That's the whole point of my talk, right? Does that help?
Yeah.
Any more questions? One more? Okay. Last one. I think the problem with having scanning, if you want to scan in and then control them manually, the problem would be like, how do you control that? So you scan and then put the cards down and pick up a controller? I think feasible, but I know like some of the Nintendo consoles, the controllers have scanners built in. That'd be interesting. So you have pick up an amiibo, tap it, and then go right back to fighting. That'd be fun. I think if you could develop a control, like if you could create an interaction method that made that seamless for the player, I think that'd be really cool. Yeah, you could like hybrid play a card game and kind of play a battle. I know some of the Kingdom Hearts games do that all digital, but imagine if there was like a physical element too. Might be a lot to juggle, but if you could figure out a way to do it, I think it'd be really cool. And my whole point of the talk is like, I think it's worth trying to figure out how to do it because that sounds really cool. Again, Wildling Rumble here is just a tech demo. And it's a very pretty, very fun, silly little tech demo. But fundamentally, there is so much more in this space. And I want to encourage everyone to try it out. Okay, thank you so much. Yes.